You see the sign that they put on your house. I'm interested in buying your house all cash. Call me at 718-757-884. David. God bless you and your family. So the only thing I have to say is fuck you. Stay off my motherfucking lawn. I'm not selling shit, bitch. And I'm going to keep this place. You're not developing my shit. And this is fucking trash. The beauty about being able to drive all-wheel drive in the rain when everybody else, especially these front-wheel and these rear-wheel drive cars, they're taking it easy because they're afraid of all this wind and weather. But this all-wheel drive SRT monster doesn't give a fuck about none of that shit. I love this fucking truck. It's amazing how much power these things have. Come on, let's go. And they stay so straight. It doesn't matter how wet the ground is, these things stay straight. You know, they may turn a little bit, not as tight. They may have a little bit of understeer. But the thing about it is, you can't beat it. All-wheel drive, fucking damn near 500 horsepower, you can't beat them. Amazing. Gotta say, these things are ridiculous. Okay, come on. Come on, get out of the way. Oh, come on. Let's go, Rogue. Come on, get out of the way. What are y'all doing? Wait. Jesus Christ. Fucking things are insane. I love this shit. Okay, so basically there's going to be, I won't say changes, but there's going to be a slight metamorphosis of my channel. As the video states, I'm using YouTube money and basically YouTube money that I invested in the stock market I'm pulling out in order to purchase another house. So I know some people might be quick to say, oh, yeah, well, that's a 30-year loan and this, that, and other, and you don't know if YouTube will even be around in 30 years. Here's the thing. I actually have enough money from my rental property, which is going to happen with the other home. And I also have enough, considering my job and everything, to make it work. But the YouTube extra $2,000 or so a month that I had been making, some of which I had been investing, some of which I invested in cryptocurrency and whatnot, that money is basically going to go. I already have the down payment collected, and I should be closing somewhere in mid-October. Basically, my loan is already gone through and everything. The seller of the home, which was the bank in this case, they accepted the offer and whatnot that I made. And basically, I'm just waiting to get things together because I'm getting ready to move. In fact, like, I've been looking at a lot of furniture lately, and I've been looking at a lot of weatherproof moving storage bins and this, that, and other. I've been buying a lot of those things in order to help move my equipment. I have a lot of electronic equipment. I don't want anything damaged. So one of the videos that I made not a long time ago, I promised that what I was going to do was I was going to talk about finances. Like, I was going to talk about the finances involved in purchasing your first home. Now, for the most part, the banks have kept all of the closing costs pretty much streamlined, so that basically you come in and you basically sit down at a table and you pay, everything is already basically done for you. All you basically have to do is sign on the dotted line and then hand them a down payment. The first thing I ended up having to do was get an inspection done after my offer was accepted. So I had my inspector come. The best thing to do is usually to get yourself a structural engineer, because these are people who, well beyond architecture, they know the physics behind building structure. Now, before I talk about this house, the first thing I want to say is that we have a problem here in New York City right now. I have been waiting for what they kept on talking about. There was going to be a housing crash and that housing was going to decrease in value and everything. Unfortunately, I live in New York City, and the problem is if you're inside New York City, that's absolutely not true. Housing costs are on the rise. What's worse than housing costs being on the rise, just like I started off this video, you've got these assholes who walk around putting letters in your mailbox and telling you, oh yeah, I'm interested in buying your house cash and shit. And the problem is there's a lot of people who've fallen for that. Now, granted, there's some people who are ready to move and they don't like where they live and everything and they own their homes and they want to go down to Florida and this, that, and other. Problem is we've got regular people who some of them working for developers. We have a lot of people trying to invest, and they're trying to speculate on houses. And what they're doing is they're purchasing up houses, especially the condemned houses. So with the condemned houses, any house that is like really beaten down, broken, what they do is they take that house, they tear it down, and then they rebuild like a 2-family house or something like that on that property. So what that ends up doing is that ends up causing your block to become crowded, well more crowded than it ever was intended to be. Because, for instance, blocks like where I live inside Queens were designed to be single-family homes. They weren't designed to be double-family homes. But that's because back then, when I was younger, people owned their homes. Like the average house was less than $200,000. And one person, possibly a couple, could afford easily to pay into a single-family home. The problem is with this bullshit economy that Trump's been touting, most people have not seen wage increases. They have not seen wage increases at all. The corporate CEOs and the people at the top have, but the average person has not seen wage increases. So what ends up happening is you get a lot of these people coming and they're trying to rent out homes. Me personally, I like living alone. I don't want anybody in my house around my guns, around my electronic equipment, around my computers. I don't want anybody in my house at all. I don't want to rent to anybody. Anybody who's here is either me or somebody who is deemed to be here, and they're probably not paying rent. But I don't want renters. So the thing about it is they're trying to buy up these houses and they're trying to rent up all these houses, right? So what that's done is that's caused the population of my area to damn near go towards double, which is part of the reason why I want to get a second house away from here. The other part of the reason is because now I can do interior decorating work and whatnot. I can tear up the floors, I can tear out the walls, I can put new plumbing, this, that, and the other in the other house. So that's coming too, because I plan on getting a new kitchen and 2 new bathrooms, one on the main floor and then one on the basement floor. Okay, so that's the background. So with this house, I've been looking at Long Island. The downside about moving to Long Island is the taxes are higher. The upside is that if you have more than one car, you usually get better parking lots and you usually get slightly better spacing between the houses. You usually get a little bit better land spacing. Sometimes you get better backyards. Sometimes you get better front yards. Oftentimes you get better side spaces for you to drive your car right towards the back of your house. One of the things about Long Island is Long Island has rules where you're not allowed to keep your car on the main streets in some communities during the night. So that means that your car has to be off of the main road, which means that most likely you're going to move your car towards the back of the house. You're going to move it towards the side of the house. Nothing wrong with that. My thing is the amount of space that these houses are offering are okay. But what bothers me more than anything is that the majority of these houses in Long Island, especially if they're under $300,000, they are not dormered, which means that they don't have that upstairs they don't have a main bedroom or master bedroom on the top floor. They don't have bathrooms on the top floor. Most of these houses have attics. Now, the house that I've been looking at has a basement. Obviously, it has a main floor, and then it has a top floor, which needs to be expanded because, as you can see in these pictures, the roof, the gables, and all that, it's just I'm a pretty tall person. This is not enough space for me. So in time, what I would be doing is I'd be dormering the topmost floor. As you can see in this video, there's some space and it looks like there may have been some small people living here and maybe they were renting out the top floor, but absolutely this wouldn't work for me. What I would do is I would dormer the topmost floor So this way I could have one large master bedroom, or I could have a master bedroom plus one room to use as like a home office or whatever on the top floor. Or I could use a master bedroom and then I could have a second bedroom where in that second bedroom I could use it as like a lounge room or whatever. You know, you could put like sofa chairs, this, that, and other. So the basement in this house obviously needs to be finished flooring, and it also has to have like finished sheetrock walls. As far as these windows, the windows were taken out in order to keep squatters from being able to get into the house, but the windows are fully functional. The kitchen that I'm moving into has to be redone. Not very much work has to be done to it. Obviously, it needs a new refrigerator. The bathroom needs just a little bit of work. It needs to be cleaned, obviously. But what you're looking at right here is the story with a lot of homes on the market here in New York City and Long Island. It's basically a lot of these places were purchased in 2001 through 2006. These people, in many cases, never could afford these homes, and they ended up defaulting on them, or they ended up buying subprime ARM adjustable rate mortgage loans, and they ended up basically defaulting on them, and they left. So when they left, the bank took these homes over. They left them, and most of these homes either rotted, or if they were fortunate enough to be in good condition, like as you can see, the siding here, excellent condition. The windows are brand new, basically. Garage is basically brand new. As you can see, some of these homes were actually in quite good condition. Now, the issue ultimately comes when you do get in there finally. Then you have to deal with mold, mildew, possibly termites. You got to deal with, rotten sheetrock, because some of these people, some of these damn developers, these goddamn developers, the city allowed them to use this cheap ass shit, stucco and all that bullshit, and they allowed them to use the cheapest Chinese made shitty sheetrock that was breaking down. And ultimately, a lot of this stuff, a lot of the work that ultimately goes into a lot of these houses has to be redone. So if you're lucky when you're looking through this market, you can find something nice, or you may end up finding something cheaper that needs you to spend a little bit of work, and you can, build a nice house out of whatever you buy. Most of them require you to open up the top floor and dormer. Now, the problem then becomes, if you build on another level of the house, expand the size of the house, your taxes are probably going to go up. In most cases, your taxes are going to go up. But the thing about it is, it's always something that can be done. Or what you can do is you can buy one of these houses, you can wait for the values to rise, and I guarantee these values here are rising. Because, you remember in 2006, a lot of people were purchasing houses based on speculation, and they thought that the values were never going to drop. Now, when the crisis came, the banks shut down lending, and because of that, house values, well, that's one of the things, but house values actually did start to drop. So the house that I'm in now was purchased for $250,000. If you appraise this house right now is $500,000. So, and that's mostly because it's inside New York City. Now, even Long Island, I've noticed the values of Long Island homes are slowly creeping up, because the problem is New York City is basically expanding. New York City, I should say, and Long Island have always basically been the exact same place. Basically, New York City was used as a segregation design to keep minorities inside Jamaica and inside New York City, while most of the non-whites were kept inside New York City. The whites moved out to Long Island. Levittown, specifically on the GI Bill, after most of the soldiers were coming back from the war. So Jamaica and Levittown were built at the exact same place, but because of segregation, these places were separated by who was actually going to be living there based on skin color. So now what's happening is you have a large number of white liberals basically gentrifying Brooklyn, Harlem, and whatnot, turning those areas into mostly whites. But now you have a lot of minorities who worked inside the city who are getting ready to retire. Some of them are going down south. Some of them have decided that they're going to stay near the city, go to Long Island, and they're buying homes in Long Island. Now, I haven't retired yet, but the thing about it is, because of my specific needs when it comes to automotive space, when it comes to living space, because of my specific needs, I've decided that Long Island is where I want to be. Taxes on the house that I'm looking at are about $5,900, which means that every single month, $500 alone is going to pay the taxes. So that's not actually so bad because just a few blocks away or less than a mile away, you have another district where the taxes jump to 10,000, and in some cases, the taxes jump higher than 15,000. Now, when you take a look at President Trump's new tax plan and how he eliminates mortgage tax deduction, it really affects people who are paying over 10,000. I'll be paying less than 10,000. Now, I would guess that within the next 10 years taxes may rise, but again, this isn't my first house and it's not going to be my last. If I decide to move, I can always purchase another house somewhere else, or I could move into a family house, possibly a deceased family member, since everybody in my family is old at this point. Who knows? I'm not really worried about that right now. What I'm worried about is having property and being able to rent property. So as you can see, the floors in this place are in pretty good condition. The walls need just a little bit of repainting. Windows are in excellent condition. Electricity was turned off, obviously, because this is a foreclosure. But for the most part, the place is in working order and it's move-inable, and given a small amount of injection of capital, you can get this place, fully back up to spec and fully up to code and everything. The bank obviously is going to make sure that most of the stuff gets done because everything I pointed out has to obviously be done. But that's where I am right now, and that's what I did most of the summer. I was looking for houses. I was looking for furniture after I found what I was interested in buying. So that's just where it is. And at this point now, I continue and I'm moving forward with the closing process and getting the house appraised. And then eventually the bank is going to come to me and they tell me, oh, yeah, well, we're ready to close and everything. And then you get to close on it.
You go outside, hold on. You'll see the roof. This wall is lined up with the roof. Outside.
So what do they have this listed? They have it listed as 2-bedroom?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because they're counting this room over here.
They have it as a 2-bedroom.
John,
Yes.
we're talking about this being possibly not a bare wall.
Yeah, that wall. It might be.
This is the back of the bedroom.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so you take this down, and then what would you do?
And the sink looks okay. I think some repainting, maybe some cleaning will be okay in here. But yeah, I probably need to bleach this, maybe to replace this faucet handle. But they turn off the water too?
Yeah, everything's off.
Oh, okay. Even in winter to make sure the pipes are okay.
Yeah, so that's another thing. If you can't run the water, you got to check because you're not. It's not gonna flush because the water's on.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't run water, so you don't know how the water pressure is in this house.
Yeah, well, we have to find that out.
Yeah.
We have to find that out.
Yeah.
I like this.
If an engineer comes in and they can't run water, there's no
like this.
knowing.
I really like this. So yeah, find out what.
That'll be part of the rehab.
I'm gonna send you some more information. I want you to find out just a couple of things about it, but especially with a counter offer. Oh, we can go to the back.
Yeah.
We can go to the back.
Check the garage.
Yeah, can look at the garage in the back.
Thank you.
Yeah. Get a price on this, rebuilding this deck. Man, it's so quiet here. Oh, he's showing you the garage. No, you should take a look at the garage. You came. You didn't see the inside of it. Yeah, my uncle liked the inside of the garage.
Oh yeah.
But the car crazy one. Yeah, so far I have to say I've looked at a couple. This is the best one I think I've seen. So yeah, I wonder if they take like $250. I don't know what kind of arguments you could make for a counter offer. I don't know if they ask for any. Do you know what bank owns it?
No, I'll look into what bank.
What's this?
Honestly,
What's this right here?
doesn't really matter
What's
what
that?
bank owns it.
What's that?
This right here?
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like they were planning to do something, but I wonder what. Does that look like something
Like it might have gone on the top of. I mean, it spans the length.
Because it's got is it got glass in it?
Yeah,
Because I'm wondering what that is. That looks like door frame.
it's got glass. In it.
Focusing. Yeah, and see this back space. It's not like we're used to like huge backyards and shit.
Yeah, exactly.
But me personally, I like this garage, and I told you like probably the only thing I would probably add back here is maybe a small pool or something. But you know, I really like this. And then like there's enough. It seems like there's enough space here to set up like tables or whatever if you have a picnic or whatever.
Oh no, yeah, definitely.
It seems like
here,
there
you
is.
can have a nice table.
Seems like there's enough space. Yeah, but I know I'd have to rebuild this deck. I don't know what the pricing on this deck and that last one would be because I'd want new wood or whatever.
Yeah.
But I wonder, would it be worth it to simply build those steps to that side and eliminate the deck altogether? And maybe just repave this or whatever. I wonder if that would be worth it.
Actually, that's a good idea.
Because I've noticed a lot of people with these wood decks, like I have friends who just moved.
Yeah,
And I've noticed these people with these wood decks and these things go through a lot of shit.
yeah, they do. They do, and it's true. You could have just a cement patio back here and steps that lead to the doorway, and that's it. You don't need a whole wooden deck.
Yeah, my uncle's house was like that. The only one thing I also noticed is there's no way to get into the basement from outside, which is not really a big deal. But I wonder
You
if
could
they'll
probably-
come down
no.
on the price from
On
that.
the inside, I think you'd be able to do it because this door shouldn't this door lead right to the basement?
Or you see this window right here? If I wonder what it would be for a entrance to be cut into
This
this.
is the kitchen.
Yeah.
I think you do have an outside entrance. I think you do.
An outside entrance?
Yeah, I think that door there. You might. Let me see. It's not direct. Yeah, it's not direct. I mean, it kind of, because this door gives you direct access to the basement, but it's not necessarily a door just for the basement.
Mm-hmm.
But you do have access to the basement straight from here.
Oh, I see what you mean. But no. See, what I'm saying is, you remember that guy's house? Like access from the outside
Yeah.
and from the inside. I mean, it's not a terribly big deal. It's just that
Right.
most people in like fire codes are like, oh, you have to have a second way to get out of here. You know, if this place starts burning up.
You might.
You know.
Yeah.
And I know a entrance could be dug because one of my uncles had to do that.
Yeah.
You know, but no, I tell you honestly, it's like the more and more I see of this place, it's like I really am liking it. I'd like to haggle them down to like $250. I really would, and use some of that as like reasons why that they should drop it if they would. But it's the bank, so they're not, you know.
Of course.
I
What you
know.
could do is because the budget that you request for the rehab is not necessarily what you have to borrow.
Right.
It's whatever your contractor needs. So you could budget for a $30,000 rehab and only use 20.
Right.
Which in that point.
But you're still paying money on the money that you borrowed until you give it
on the
back.
money that you borrow, yes.
Right. Yeah, I'm liking. I am liking. I felt bad for the other guy because I was like, nah, there's no way. There's no way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what
but
happens.
yeah. He knew I wasn't interested. Easily, I look at like 2 seconds. I'm like, nah, I don't.
I've seen it.
The first thing I recommend is if you're planning on buying a house after you get your credit all straight, you really should join a credit union. And as you know, I've banked a lot with Municipal Credit Union here in New York City. Different cities have different credit unions, and they have pretty good rates for 30-year fixed mortgages and everything. But you know, as long as you have excellent credit, you can qualify for the prime rate. And if you want a lower rate, you can pay down the rate. I'll explain what that means eventually later. Right now, I'm just here to get some cash.